Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. Today we are going to be having a look at October's exceptional story, Say It With Flowers. As always at the start of this, I'm going to give my proviso that if you want to play this yourself, go ahead. It's much more fun to play yourself, and it's great to support the wonderful people at Failbetter. But without further ado, let's go. Fresh flowers, flowers from the surface. The cry comes from a stall half concealed by a crowd of society youths. The stall's rapidly depleting stock is that of slightly wilted surface flowers, wild roses, pink pansies, carnations of every colour, even tulips and honeysuckle. That's it, I'm afraid. Only damaged stock left. A chaperone staggers away under many bouquets. The crowd begins to disperse. Disappointed, the stallkeeper offers up the last bedraggled blooms. We have a couple of options here. We can take the red carnations. The tips of some of the petals are darkening, but this does little to diminish the flower's beauty. We can take the white lilies. The white bears hints of brown, but the aroma lingers on. Or we can refuse the stallkeeper's offer. The pollen has stained his fingers. Think of what it'll do to your clothes. I don't really want the white lilies because I'm pretty sure they are tied to funerals and things. So let's take the red carnations. A young woman carrying a bunch of dog roses slides up to you. She glances at your own bouquet and frowns sympathetically. Oh, I'm so sorry. They are not a scoundrel, whoever they are. Oh, she wiggles her eyebrows meaningfully. Perhaps this will cheer you up. I'm going to walk past Chuffy with these. He won't know what to do with himself. And with a giggle, she's away. The stallkeeper shrugs. It's been like that all morning. Sly smiles, cryptic comments. Knew these would be popular, but I sold out in an hour, he grins. One even patted me on the head when I asked. Charged him triple in response. Visit the season of promiscuity anywhere in London to unlock this exceptional story. Oh, there it is. Unlock Say It With Flowers. Apprehended during your morning constitutional. Excuse me, my lady. A constitutional is a walk, by the way. Excuse me, my lady. A messenger in a somber uniform of the palace approaches at a fast run. He isn't even winded, but gasping for breath would be unseemingly in the representing royalty. Once he has your full attention, he hands you a letter. It is only folded once and unsealed. Clearly, the servant's discretion is considered impeccable. His mission accomplished, the man bids you farewell with a nod and sprints off. What could be so important that it had to be hand-delivered to you personally? The letter author has heard of your many accomplishments and escapades. The writer expresses no opinion of them. They are merely grounds for their contacting you. The letter suggests that you travel to Charlie Square near the Shuttered Palace. There you are to locate a request for aid. Answer it, but when you have resolved the immediate problem, dig deeper. It is, the letter assures you, in the best interests of the persons involved. Almost as an afterthought, the letter concludes. Of course, if you find yourself incapable of such generosity, no more will be thought of it, or you. It is unsigned. You have been strongly encouraged to give aid to someone, or someones, in Charlie Square. A note tied to a lamppost. The writing is in block capitals, the emphasis, reward, offered. And yet the writer didn't seem that keen to spread the word. This is the only note you can find in Charlie Square, and it was tied at such a height that you almost walked straight past it. Still, this must be the request for aid that you were alerted to. Perhaps its placement was designed to filter out those without sufficient perception to help. Consider the sign. What has it to say about this reward? The sign is perfunctory. It requests the assistance of a perspicacious, discreet, and diplomatic individual. It does not give the nature or the amount of the reward. The address is nearby. It wouldn't be far out of your way. Ooh, let's have a look. The address from the lamppost. The house has an inviolable location, a short stroll from Jekyll Gardens, but is poorly maintained. The brickwork is foul with soot. The paint on the door is cracked and peeling. The illustrated spinster who answers your knock appears as beset with woes as the property. Her face is creased with worry. You hear about the reward? He bustles you into a threadbare front room. It has few decorations, although a small side table has a vase of dried aconite. You're going to help me then? We have two options here. We can either discover her complaint, she posted her address on the public street, what could have driven her to such extremes, or we can refuse to help. The decor suggests the reward might not be munificent. The note you were sent promised nothing, and you have other things to do. No, I'm going to help her, of course. Discover her complaint. Flowers! Bouquets! She rushes to the window and draws back the curtain. Look! There's two of them at it, even now. Outside, two young ladies stroll by, their arms linked. One has a posy of cornflower blue mushrooms, the other has sad and bedraggled, but actual flowers. Ranunculus? What about this is so distressing? It's improper, indecorous, and entirely unbecoming. Oh, don't look at me like that. It's clear they're using them to conspire somehow. Arrange assignations. She shakes her head. Without chaperones, it must stop. The illustrated spinster is distressed by flirtations conducted via flowers. The spinster fidgets at her collar. The unconscious gesture reveals the end of an inked line marking her skin. A tattoo? It's not unheard of for stern society matrons to deplore the most innocent of pleasures, but it is startling to see such puritanism from one so decorated. But she does seem distraught. Her eyes are red-rimmed, as if she had only recently stopped weeping. She has the bearing of one used to composure, but her hands clench reflexively. Well, will you make it stop? Of course. Her despair may be disproportionate, but it is sincere. You can't understand what this means to me. She considers your face for a moment, then smiles wearily. I think you're capable of looking into it. Please, look into it. You promised the illustrated spinster to look for the new fad for garish bouquets. No time like the present. The illustrated spinster bustles you back to her front door. Please let me know when you're done, so I can stop waiting and wondering. As she shuts the door behind you, something falls from her pocket. Oh! Yet she does not pick it up. The closure of the door sweeps it onto the top step by your feet. Pick up the notebook. The spinster must have seen it fall, and yet she abandoned it. Why? The beginning of the notebook is filled mushroom species and where they can be located in the neath, with enough detail to suggest the author were a mycologist. The writing moves on to the language of flowers, listing fungal equivalents to be used where the flower can't be sourced. A codebook, then. The language is expanded with fungal definitions. Oh God. Identhium pecci, unreliable messenger. Gyrometra escluenta, cannibalism. Fly agaric, partial truths. Death cap, punishment. And so on. At the back, heavily scored out, are a series of messages. Their content makes clear that these are messages of alliances and not any the author was intended to receive. So she's spying on spies. How interesting. It seems that the illustrated spinster's objection to the new fad for expensive floral bouquets is due to more than mere prudishness. Still, she was sincere when she asked you to stop it. Ordinarily, society fads pass rapidly, but this has lasted more than a day suggests that it has a die-hard participants. If you're going to be able to stop it, you'll need to know who they are. So we can check the posy against the notebook. University students scurry down Moloch Street deep in conversation. Nestled in the nook of a weary scholar's arm is a cluster of dying hyacinths, poppies, and a horrible brain-like fungus. Or we can intercept the bouquet carried by the tourist. He staggers beneath a pile of parcels. The bouquet is balanced precariously on top. The flowers are faded and dry, but could have been heliothrope. In the centre is a chanterelle. I know nothing about flowers. This could be an interesting little bit of time here, couldn't it? Let's check against the university students. If that fungus is Gyrometra escluenta, then its inclusion in the bouquet cannot be accidental. No one wise would buy it for consumption. It must be for display. But if the notebook is consulted, that would mean that the scholar's message was, "You charm me, but I am not free. Oh, cannibalism." Which doesn't feel quite right. Whoever this group is, their cipher must differ in the part from that in the spinster's notebook. Society youths are passing messages with flowers. Who are the ringleaders? No, now we'll have a look at the bouquet carried by the tourist. The notebooks has several meanings for chanterelle, and determined by context, all requiring a second fungus to interpret. It could mean hurry up, or work faster, by another, or betrayal. It could also signify the inverse of the rest of the message, which, when the apparent meaning is heliotrope, is you are missed, but only when the flowers are held in the left hand, clarifies nothing. The tourist stops a hansom cab and passes the parcels inside. He gives the bouquet to a woman he assists into the cab. Was the message for her? Was he carrying her things and it's her message to someone else? This is no good. Stop the urchins with the flowers. Urchins don't normally venture into Lusitania Row, nor do they often carry vast bouquets, and this one is scurrying furtively into the shadows. These aren't for you. I don't know what you mean or what you want, and you're wrong anyway. And you hadn't even got past a greeting. The urchin twists away from you, attempting to conceal what he's carrying. You have the height advantage and catch a glimpse as the child flees. Purple hyacinth, bluebells, destroying angel, orange peel fungus, and a pressed daisy. Well, someone's in trouble. Someone must plead for forgiveness, beg to escape punishment, implore for mercy. They will be punished if they do not prove that they will be forever loyal. The message is grimly clear. The notebook provided a perfect translation. There are clearly two ciphers at play here. Still, there are enough overlaps that you should be able to send a message of your own. Lure the message senders out, and you can resolve all of this. So let's send a message of my own. You'll need the notebook, a florist, and a good grocer. Or a damp cellar. It takes some time to find a florist with irises and scarlet pimpernel, longer to persuade them to part with them at the less than eye-watering price. Then you need ruby bullet to convey that it is an order, not a suggestion, and of course a location. Add Satan's bullet and take a meandering path to the brass embassy. You'll just have to hope the right people are watching. Your floral arrangement demands an assignation at the brass embassy. That seems like a very strange place to try and meet, does it not? You are not the first to reach the space outside the brass embassy. Two society women glance about as though expecting company. An urchin shimmies down a drain pipe and rushes over as you arrive, to pause uncertainly. Over the next few minutes, more society youths gather. Minutes pass, and their irritations grow. They showed up, but their assignation hasn't materialized. Miffed whispers discuss the situation. Eventually, they turn to you. The odd one out. Why did you want to see them? Request that they stop the clandestine messaging. It is causing a society spinster great distress. Declare your curiosity sated. It's no skin off your teeth whether they continue. You merely wish to see whether you could crack their code, or we can consider the one person not grumbling. The urchin has kept his distance from the rest of the group. They haven't even noticed he's there. Is he not with them? You got something you need to pass on? From her? He has sidled up to you, and ostensibly examining a scuff on his shoe. Her? Does he mean the spinster? It is her codebook after all. The child laughs. Oh no, she's just a messenger. He seems relieved. You're lucky, really, to not know. Well, I should request that they stop their clandestine messaging. The young member of the clergy frowns. Two women burst into quickly stifled giggles. There is a general air of bemusement. Why should it matter to them that some stranger thinks of their hobby? Why are you running an errand for someone so afflucious? But we're still going to have to stop, aren't we? It is the lady with the firm opinions on Tulel. If you and this woman see through our messages, then that spoils all the fun. There is a collective grumbling before the group turns to you. You apparently ruined everything. How should they communicate now? The group stands together, considering you. One woman goes so far as to tap her foot impatiently. The urchin stands off to one side. He watches both you and them, and smiles slyly. We can suggest an alternative to flower flirting. Their code drew attention because it overlapped with that of another. They must communicate. They should do it in a way the spinster won't guess. Cautious accessorizing. What does every modern Londoner have upon them? Clothes. And what does every fashionable modern Londoner have upon their clothes? Adornments, decorations, fripperies. Clearly, this requires a demonstration. Phosphorescent scarab on the collar? Chaperone observing. Beware. Red ribbon in cuff link hole? Hungover. Please speak quietly. Terrier chewed trouser cuffs. New pet. Please visit. No, they can't use the examples or you'll understand. And then you wouldn't be able to, in good conscience, tell the spinster that they've seized this business. If they were, however, to create a new system, well, you'd never know. So long as they didn't use flowers or fungi or fruit, just to be on the safe side. Understanding dawns. There is a burst of whispering. This problem is clearly, completely resolved. Although the note from the palace would suggest that this is only the start. Return to the spinster to report your success. You have barely raised your fist to knock when the door is whisked open. Yes? Oh, come in. The spinster's sleeves are rolled up, revealing tattoos reaching down to her wrists. She sees you looking and pulls her sleeve back down. That done, she leads you back to the drawing room. Well, she considers you with a searching expression. So we can either report our work. The sending of messages by flowers has stopped. The sending of messages not so much. Or we can probe deeper, as the note suggested. This was never about youths flirting, was it? Too many things don't fit. She seems like the kind of person who may understand us looking deeper into the situation, so let's try that. The spinster's concern for propriety doesn't seem right. Her tattoos indicate either that she once worked at the carnival, or that she was a spy or messenger in the Great Game. And you've certainly not seen her on any posters. Then there was that urchin, who didn't fit in with the society group, and the other one, carrying a message of contrition with no joy. Those giddy youths would have no need for such remorse. Oh, and she dropped her code book at your feet. There's obviously something up. The spinster smiles brightly. She turns to a cabinet and kneels to fetch something. She hands you a dried parasol mushroom wrapped with a red ribbon. You should probably leave. We have a decorative mushroom. Festooned with meaning. Oh well, we can report our work. Sending of messages by flowers has stopped. The sending of messages, not so much. Contrasting with her earlier decorum, the spinster could not care less that the clandestine message might continue in an unadulterated form. When she hears that bouquets will no longer be used, she closes her eyes for a moment and reaches for a side table to steady herself. To be brought to this, she says, smiling thinly, to be unable even to ask for help. She shakes her head. I'm so sorry. You've done excellently at preserving the integrity of society youth. You need a reward, I promise one. She searches her purse before finally just handing it to you. That's all I can spare. Oh, and this. 100 pennies and a bottle of strangling willow absinthe. The spinster paces to the window and looks out onto the street and hurries back to you. She says nothing. She fidgets with her collar, as if it's suddenly too tight. The spinster hustles you to the door, where she puts on her own coat and bonnet. She holds the door open, waiting for you to depart. Being watched. Oh, evicted. Thank you, really. And, but that is all the illustrated spinster says as you move past her. Though she dressed to leave, she does not follow. The door clunks shut, leaving you alone on the doorstep. The parasol mushroom is listed in the back of the notebook. Help. Oh, now we get to spy on the spy. An unsigned note from the palace told you to look deeper. The illustrated spinster herself wants your help. But she wouldn't tell you what with. Her behaviour has been shifty and conspicuously suspicious from the start, almost as if trying to draw your attention. Well, that's exactly what you're going to give her. Her front door opens, and she bustles out, burdened with bouquets. Where did she keep them? How can she afford such fresh flowers? Most importantly, who is she intending these for? So we can discover where she delivers the magnolia posy. What is bundled up with? Snapdragons and stinkhorn? An unusual choice. We can see who takes the wreath. Several of the plants have been woven together. Magnolias, red and white roses. Monkshood decorated with extea glandulosa. Lovely. Investigate the recipient of the bouquet. It is bright, made with anombel, bluebell, orange lily and violet webcap. The colours clash, but attractively. Guess I'll start at the top. Discover where she delivers the magnolia posy. The illustrated spinster's path twists and turns through the narrow streets of London. She takes a shortcut through the Inns of Court before finally arriving on Doubt Street. Here she pauses by a shop window. You make brief eye contact in the reflection. Has she seen you? She turns and heads towards the nearby church. She does not go in, instead passing the posy to a gentleman apparently pursuing a sign pinned to the church door. He leaves, briskly. You can always find the spinster again. Who is this man? As soon as the man is what he must consider a safe distance from the meeting point, he slows to a halt. Oblivious to the annoyance of pedestrians behind him, he pulls out a notebook and holds the bouquet at arm's length to examine it. He is still comparing the flowers to the notebook when you draw near. At the sight of you, he clasps the notebook to his chest. It's Huffam, editor of the unexpurged London Gazette. Oh. So we can either decode the message, you'll need more than the individual meanings of the plants. You'll need to find the meaning of this specific combination, or we can interrogate Huffam, or Huffam. What is Huffam doing receiving secret messages and exotic bouquets? Is he a spy? Shouldn't the bastion of the free press be above that kind of chicanery? Well, let's interrogate him. Huffam eyes open wide with panic. Ah! He says. Ah! He nods firmly. These are flowers, oh, and a mushroom. They are pretty. When that does not deter you from your questions, he tries again. Like flowers. Finally, inspiration strikes him. They are from an admirer. I am permitted an admirer, am I not? He smiles, first desperately, then sadly. She is kind and generous and beautiful and loves me very much. I miss her. He shakes his head. I miss her a great deal. Let's try and decode the message. You'll need magnolias. To do with nobility. Snapdragons could be saying the message is from someone gracious. Oh, but when it's combined with stinkhorn. Beware our royal family. They are deceitful. They murder good people to line their pockets. No wonder Huffam blanched when he decoded this. This is dangerous. Can even he risk reporting it to London? Well, we've seen all we must. Let's find the spinster. The spinster stands distracted by a millinery shop. Perhaps she is enthralled by the vast orange creation beset with veils. This is placed proudly in the window. It does not seem her style, however. The moment you draw close, she is off again. Does she never rest? So now we will see who takes the wreath. The illustrated spinster is someone used to walking. Her pace is sedate enough to maintain for hours. Fortunately, it also makes it one easy to keep up with. She cuts from Hollow Street to Take Penny Street and heads on to Childcake Street. She follows this almost to the end, stopping just before the waists. As the walk tired her, she yawns and stretches, raising the wreath above her. And it's whisked away by an urchin dangling from the gutter. What is a child doing involved in such shenanigans? There is a yelp, then a burst of laughter. A notebook falls, narrowly missing your head. The urchin has caught her trousers on a gutter bracket and appears stuck. The perfect opportunity to approach. Oh, it's you. No, don't give me any help. I've got this. If Colony Molly didn't need her hands to hold the wreath, she'd have no problem. Fine, take this, but you give it back after. So, we'll start by decoding the message. You just need to find the part of the notebook that decodes wreaths, then locate the combination of plant life you have here in your hands. This column suggests that this is a very patriotic combination. Magnolias for nobility, and red and white rose of England. But what about the monk's hood, and the Exeter gladius? Oh, surely this is treason. Our royals betray us, contracts broken, labourers worked to death in the Cumaean Canal. Who would send this to an urchin? Or more pertinently, how could they think an urchin safe with this information? Everyone knows, give an urchin a marmalade sandwich and they'll gossip for hours. Let's interrogate Colonel Molly. You know that this is more than a mere decoration for the aromatic adornment. What is this all about? I'm distressed that you possibly think so. It is difficult to be haughty when suspended in mid-air, but Molly has almost certainly had practice. I, a poor orphan, have attracted the attention of a guild of, people what want to make poor orphans happy. She nods, setting herself swinging. It is well known that bright colours bring joy, so they give us flowers and mushrooms. She frowns. Wish the mushrooms were more edible though, or that they wrap the flowers in a blanket. On this last, at least, she is sincere. Okay, well, we can take our leave. She'll climb back up eventually. You need to hurry if you're not to lose the spinster. It turns out the spinster is not far away. He looks at you. Back a dangling molly, then you, then laughs. A titter, a giggle, then she is doubled up howling. There is an edge to it. Is the spinster on the verge of hysterics? She looks up as you approach and shakes her head. Her cheeks are wet with tears. With a couple of breaths, she composes herself and is off, as if she had never even acknowledged your presence. Well, let's see where the final bouquet is going. The illustrated spinster marches through Blithenhale into Spite. She moves through the area as calmly as one born here, without any of the anxieties you'd expect from someone living on the other side of town. As she journeys, someone comes to walk alongside her. My good madam, it is such a delight to see you once more. But it is not like you to arrive so conspicuously. At this, the spinster barks a laugh. She passes the flower over and turns aside to examine a stall. Her companion continues on. Milady? The brine bruiser holds the flowers to you with a sly smile. Want a sniff? They're lovely, ain't they? Is he not discomforted by your arrival? Of course not. You've arrived with the messenger. I can only assume that she arranged it to be so. If one of her pedigree wanted it otherwise, it would be otherwise. Well, let's decode the message. He's positively wafting the bouquet in your face, making the easy a seal. The bruiser points with the flowers at your notebook. I left mine at home. Would you do the honours? Bluebell would mean humility, and Anamane would that something or someone has been forsaken. With the lily and the webcap, could this be from a revolutionary? Humble workers trapped at Canal, despite hatred of roles, life and freedom stole from there by the employers. Another message about a point. The blind bruiser face grows dark. It's an ill wind. I've cousins there. Obviously, this is an exchange of secret information. He's not even trying to hide it. What is going on? I've been advised that I ought to be more respectful of the source. I mean scared. But I was never one for bowing and scraping, even when I should. He shakes his head. They say she's worse than a bound shark, that few sharks make you beg to be eaten. The blind bruiser sighs. What am I saying? He gestures towards the illustrated spinster, who still loiters by the stall. I don't want to give her back the contrapanations. She's all right. He grimaces. I mean, of course, absolutely bloody nothing is going on. I just like to carry flowers. They go with me eyes. You've learned all you can from the blind bruiser. The illustrated spinster must have been observing you in the reflection of the brass kettle she is holding. As soon as you turn from the bruiser, she is off again, and she had her back to you the whole time. She darts away, maintaining enough distance that she could at least claim to be unaware that you are following. And I think I'm going to have to end the first episode here. I have enjoyed this an awful lot. Spy games in London, revolving around flowers and bouquets. But either way, thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you next time.